Welcome back, fellow Warfare Generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Imperator Rome, the Heirs of Alexandria DLC. We're going to continue this. Nope. All aboard. Oh, dear. We are building the Pharaohs Lighthouse. Yep, knew he wasn't going to win, but thank you for the popularity bonus. He's along with this guy, we could be able to hit all of them once because they're in a political defensive agreement. Political alliance with these guys, political defense with a couple of these. Just dock here, I guess. Okay, well, you're spending a fair amount here now, but we're going to think mostly, and it's the one that's the real expense, is up Fortnite maintenance here, and okay, this is the one with the siege engineers. So you come to here. Okay. They're the small ones, so they're going to come and assist. So these guys are going to come to here. Low food supply. Okay, here they have low food supply. Well, we're going to move our biggest army here just out. Then I know it's going to put a lot of food supply stress here, but they have a little more of that. So we can move the navy over to here. I don't think any of our current opponents are going to have naval forces. Okay, complications of materials. Now last time we got better materials. A large crash followed by a panic of our workers happened as some of the lighthouse fell into the middle of construction. It seems some of the materials received were barely usable and unsafe to keep at best. Our foreman asked for funds necessary to buy replacements while Pelopid, whoever Chatas, pointed out we have materials in other nearby cities we could use. Okay, we can spend 1,100 on replacements, or 25 of our precious political that we're trying to get up for the other thing, or just lower the height of the slightly. We're going to go with spending the money. Hopefully we'll be able to earn enough, even with our war expenses here, to use all of that. Okay, as my sort of tradition is with this game, save before starting the war, before starting the peace. We're going to come over here, just because I don't always understand. I get these guys here, them, and them are all going to be at war because it's a defensive situation. We'll get allies, but none of them will show up. Well, Andros, I don't think has enough army to show up, and Kos might bring forces. But because they have boats. Oh, roads might too, who knows. Okay, okay. Yes, I know that is... We're going that way. No, I want you to come this way to... Well, no, actually, I want you to come here first to get the capital there. Okay, these guys, they, I believe, are at peace with us and the world as a whole. So it's just coming through these two passes, so we will send these guys into here. Roads, and over there wants glass. We currently have an excess of only one. Okay, no, okay, from Decapolis, yeah. Decapolis certainly roads, and sure helping us out. At least you're alongside of us. Yes. Good thing we had these guys well organized up. Good. Oh, damn, they're coming down into there, so... yeah, you can head that way. Yeah, occupy us a little bit. You counter march on them. Didn't even want brief occupation, but well. Keep chasing them. Good. Get on in on that fight if you can. Oh, they collapsed too soon. Okay, you go back to your war there. You change your tasking to go up to there. Okay, we are no longer importing precious metals from the province of Dan in the western delta, so... let's see if we can find another source here. Okay, cloth, Memphis, cloth. We'll trade with Macedonia, I guess. Oh, maybe more cloth. Okay. There we go. Me. They're coming back for another round of let's attack, I guess, or their forces, but either way. We'll trade with you a bit. I just sort of see Rome as the final boss in this game. Well, they've been able to march all across their territory from roads. I sort of forgot that they had territory there. To come in and maybe hang out with us while we deal with the various baddies. We decided that your attempts at self-governance are not working as well as our belief in that we should govern you. Okay, we're going to come to there with you, and the smaller one, I guess. What looks like to be the main clashing point there. You can head that way. Well, I've already sort of lost that place as not being a occupied province from various wars or whatnot. No, you don't need to stay here. Okay. I don't think you can get no, so you have to come to here first. And okay, petitioner approaches senior citizen by the name of something with a wolf. Okay, well, he can give us some money, gain some loyalty, and he loses some money, or we can gain 3 stability, and he gains 20 loyalty. Yeah, there we go. We like that extra special stability. We could have used the money to build them. We're spending. Yeah, fortunately we're still in the red, or black, I should say. Okay. No pirates. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I know I could send my fleet out, but it's sort of not well maintained at the moment. Okay, we'll join this army and help them take that place faster. I don't know that they'll be able to come around past here. They might, but we have the Rhodians to back us up. No. Well, that's sort of done it. They've killed off the populace too much. We're no longer importing stone. Okay, don't know why we would be importing stone there. Well, dyes. Yeah, we'll put some dyes into here. Didn't want that to happen. Okay. Overtaken by us. Sunk into a downward spiral, which we're worried he'll never return, so he is now depressed. Oh, lovely. Just what we need from our rulers, to be depressed. Okay, well, let's take this moment to look at our family here. How are you doing? Good. Barely loyal, though. Wish you didn't switch. Yeah. Be careful if you have Kemetic. You want to keep things Hellenistic. Okay, well, we're going to seek treatment for him. He is now 18 years old, and we're going to, why can't we? Oh, okay, well, we're going to find you a wife, even though it says we really sort of can't. Okay. Right. Let's see, which one of your close relatives do you want to marry? What was your 18? Let's find somebody preferably under 20 and who is not married. She is, so to the primary heir. Some okay stats. Proud, chaste. Oh, not a good one for fertility. So, I mean, young enough that might still kick out an heir or something. 15 years old. Okay. Well, Maybe we'll have to wait a little bit. 32. Can we do this way? Instead of the old... Yeah, we could do it this way. Okay, well... he needs an heir too, or wife as well. I'm a bit older, so yeah, let's put these two together. Let's see how his health is. Okay, so good. $39. No, I don't think we're gonna... Well, is there an older member of the family here who needs a wife? Should we just saw him? Yeah. Let's get Eye Patch Dude, who's I think an adopted member of the family. It does have a wife. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, we're gonna wait until maybe one of these two are a little older or something. Hopefully these won't be too difficult. Oh, looks like you're heading back this way. Okay, well, no, you stay there. I want the larger one to come this way. Larger armed forces, larger army. So I would prefer to not batter these provinces down like what happened here by taking and retaking them. Because I really want them intact. Narrow front. Okay, go to location. We just got that. That is This also this it's a different political entity. Okay. Okay, this needs to be taken, I guess, because it's a provincial capital. Okay, we'll have to create at some point. How did they get around to here? They came down... Huh? Oh, we had forts enough. Okay, well, we got this guy. Okay, you come and help with that siege. You march down there, because I'm just not a... You're down here? Okay, Paul's ill. Not good news. Inflammation. Down here, maybe? I don't know. I would have thought that fort would have stopped them from walking by, marching by, whatever you want to say. Okay, well, you come this way. Okay, hold up. You guys attack that way. They might be able to defend with some of these narrow pass rules. Here, I don't know well enough for sure. Okay, another one of these things that we can either get some money or stability and more loyalty. There goes stability and more loyalty. Okay, good. Took them down. Pharaohs Lighthouse, as it should be. Construction of the Pharaohs Lighthouse in Alexandria. So now we've achieved this goal. Yay. Okay, so the Pharaohs Lighthouse, located in Alexandria for Egypt now. Naval morale, morale of navies is at plus 5%. Recovery is at 8%. Greater loyalty of admirals is better. Now, it used to give also like an extra trade route or two. I would have liked that too. The idea is the lighthouse is a navigational beacon. Don't know how many of you are aware that in ancient Rome, or this period, and do correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they didn't have the compass. So they did not navigate by the compass. They did not, well, they had some stargazing stuff, but I don't know, not proper sextants or whatever. So they didn't know which way they were traveling. Now, yeah, if they can see the sun clearly, and it's not like noon, you know, sort of more or less up in the sky, you know, they have, and I'm sure, you know, there might be indications, but yeah, you might have the general idea that you're heading north or south, east or west. You might have that, but that is still just vaguely idea. You know, think of no compass, so you don't know what's out here. I mean, the mere fact that you don't know of anything out here doesn't mean that nothing's out here. So how do you get to Cyprus? Now, yes, okay, so you can sort of kind of get east, west, north, south from the sun. You know, the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. So at sunrise, you sort of know, oh, okay, that's east, so that must be north, okay, and that's west and south, right? So yeah, and then as it's setting, you know, okay, that's west, and you're going. So yeah, not that you're here and can't get to here, you can. But still, you're not necessarily going to get from here to here. You're going to get from here to, you know, I don't know, from here to here, you know, all this coastline. You're going to go north, and it's going to go, you know, sailing, rowing, or a combination of the two, you know. The Odyssey, Iliad and the Odyssey, part 1, part 2. The Iliad, the siege of Troy. Odyssey is Ulysses trip home. And people have done some research and sort of kind of figured out where all these places that he supposedly went may have actually been, sort of referencing various things, various places. Now, I don't know that when it was originally being written, or because they come from the blind poet Homer, who of course didn't read or write because he was blind, but he did learn it orally, and somebody wrote it down from him. So we have it today, and I wonder what other things that were even better that did get written down but got lost in some fire or something. But right, and so I do very much believe that the Iliad is a stylized, stylized is good, legendized, whatever, siege of the Trojan War. I think the Odyssey is an interesting tale. I don't know that it's any one. I don't think it's any one person's journey. And even without being fantastical, I don't think it's any one person's journey. But I think it's a bunch of people's journeys put into one person, if you will. And the stories get, it's sort of like, sort of lost. But they often use, I know who I was thinking of. Yes, Socrates. Socrates. I'm not saying he never wrote a letter or a note, but all of the dialogues that we have with Socrates, he never wrote those. He was just dialoguing with people. It was Plato who wrote them, okay? Now, we're pretty sure, however that means, is that some of them are actually Socrates. And we're pretty sure, I gather, that they are faithful transcriptions of what Socrates and whoever he was talking to said. But basically everything that Plato writes, he puts into Socrates' mouth. And stuff the scholars believe is, this is clearly just Plato using Socrates as the main thought, as opposed to being Socrates. Because and I'm not a Greek reader at all, and I have read some of the stuff in English, that there's a real change in tone from Socrates, the sort of questioner of moralities and people, to the Socrates that, sort of the Plato's Republic kind of thing and whatnot. So he uses Socrates as sort of a voice of authority. Well, I'm guessing that the Trojan War and different tales of people maybe coming home from the Trojan War or from other wars all get sort of put on this, the Ionian War or the whatever, the whatever name of whatever, war that happened. What war? When was that? Who? No one sort of, a generation or two later, but it's like a cool story. Like I tell a lot of little sort of cool stories here. People have heard. So they just tack it on to a well-known story, I think is what it is. And it's often fantastical tales, maybe starting out from fantastical tales, but so that's it. Iliad, Odyssey, putting on there. But you sort of get the idea that when someone sort of wrote or done something, well, this is, what would be more than a year's journey, but maybe not to 10 or 20 years or whatever supposedly Ulysses took in the Odyssey, bouncing around the sort of Mediterranean, Aegean, because he does some of the stuff is sort of like hypothesizing maybe going outside of the Aegean on his way home. So yeah, heading north out of Alexandria, you don't necessarily, because between wind conditions, rowing and knowing which way you're steering, currents, I don't know if you're going to be any better to hear. I've read a lot of good historical fiction, a little bit of bad. Let me avoid what I know is to be bad. But Dudley Pope, who was a sailor himself, as in sailing boats, and I think in the Royal Navy during World War II, wrote some good books on guns, they're history books, but also wrote the Ramage series of historical novels. One of the characters in one of the novels is sort of a midshipman who has very poor navigation. Well, they've just captured a bunch of merchant vessels or whatnot from the French, and they're in the Royal Navy. And this is during the Napoleonic War. And he's going to be put in charge of one of the smaller vessels, though he's given a good assistant. And they're supposed to get them, sail them back home. And if they get separated, the captain, who's very kindly towards him and really wants to support him, and Carthage isn't doing well right here. Yeah, no, they're not doing well right there. And so the midshipman is known for not having good navigation, but a lot of other good skills. And they're coming from like somewhere in here. And, and they're supposed to get back to the British base at Gibraltar. He said some sort of comment about, how are you going to be able to, your question, are you going to be able to navigate, you feel comfortable navigating this out? Well, yeah. Because, if I start going a little too far south, well, run into the North African coast and know to sail along it. Start going a little too far north, and into Spain. I'll be able to get to Gibraltar. Might not be able to, sail north and get to England, because he might, end up wandering to somewhere else. But yeah, it's sort of a funnel. He sort of describes it, getting to Gibraltar. So yeah, he can make Gibraltar. He's pretty damn sure, and good enough lookouts, and not run into the coast and whatever. So yeah, if his navigation is off by a few degrees up or down here or whatever, he'll still be able to make it to Gibraltar, no problem in that regard. Okay, so yeah, your navigation, now maybe these are very good navigators for the day, heading north out of Alexandria. Yeah, where are you gonna end up? Now also, I've been taught in some of the classes, a lot of them, especially a lot of ships, I was going to say especially military, but I think civilian, would beach themselves on beaches every night as they sailed along. Partly, as we can see here, stroke, stroke, stroke. Now there's also a lot of sailing vessels in the period. They're not all huge, big oared galleys. Now most of the vessels had oars, or what we might call sweeps today, big sort of long oar type things. A sweep is a big oar that's sort of used on a ship, not exclusively on a ship, but it's sort of a standing kind of thing, and they're sort of not normally considered the primary means. It's just sort of like you need to sort of move a ship a bit around a harbor where there's, you're not going to put up sails and sail it around and tack it. It's just sort of badly rowing a ship around a little bit, big sweeps. But big oars, sweeps, whatever. Yeah, a lot of vessels had those, but a lot of, they didn't have the manpower to, most military vessels, or a lot of military vessels, and some of the movies, I don't know, get it right, are mostly like Navy or soldier type, not so much or slaves. So some of them are, some of them aren't slaves. But moving along here, and so some of it is just simply the place, to sleep and get water and whatnot for the crew. But part of it is like at night you can't really see things, and they don't really have lights. And even if you have a few lanterns, a lamp inside of a glass is rare, but it's around. But inside of something that is sort of protected so it doesn't get blown out from the wind or whatever, that's not much seeing things, Oh, they did make the Statue of Rhodes, very good. That's not seeing much things, so you can easily end up in a bad spot and be run aground because of winds, currents, or other things without even knowing it, where it can happen in the daylight when you can sort of see well, not just like it overcast or whatever. But so they would normally put up at night along the coast. So a lot of merchant vessels would come here and go all the way around and maybe make it, sort of a bit of a dash at some point and come around to here instead of just going straight north, because this is somewhere between being unknown and a long ways away from maybe food and water, because hey, you get becalmed, no wind, and you got 5 guys or 10 guys on a small, fairly small ship, because some of them are getting, we might consider them sort of largest boats, stacked with trade goods. So yeah, even get the sweeps out, they ain't gonna get very far. I mean, you might with effort get from here to here kind of distances, being pushed out to sea by the Nile and coming around here on your sweeps. Okay, yeah, but stuck out here, no wind, you might run out of water. So, and so where you might feel more comfortable zipping across the Aegean, where you go too far south, you run into Crete or a few other islands, not literally run into them, but get close enough that you see them. And I know they had charts back then. We don't know, because a lot of the stuff was lost, just how good, probably not very, how, good as in accurate, how comprehensive, whatever, I don't know, how common the charts were versus just pure experience. So they want to do line of sight moving around, but sometimes, you're over here, you want to trade with Athens. Yeah, they're just going to zip across here, and it's the risk of the trade, and it's, they'll come out along here and zip over to here and then come around to Athens or whatever. No big deal. Where here, of course, we're making them zip across the middle of the Mediterranean all the time. And yes, they did that. And yes, some of the major fleets sometimes did that, but that's more of the exception than the rule in most cases. So, yeah, trade across the Mediterranean. This looks like, great spot. It's tough, you don't, I'm sure vessels left here and sort of made it coming up to Rhodes, but I bet you a lot more of them came along the coast and got to here and then made the leap of faith to Crete, and okay, good, we made it to Crete. Now we're sort of going here and up here along the coast through to here, because again, how accurate were their even maps? Their perception of where the land was is not necessarily correct. Come up along here, make the crossing here, and I know armies that died in large fleets trying to cross this because of storms. I mean, literally like 80 or 90% of the soldiers die in like one large fleet that, was it Caesar or somebody is trying to move across here, in a short time period, a storm hits. So, but coming across here, down around here, up to, feed Rome from, Egypt. Okay, so, it's not all that easy, okay, as you're sort of getting the picture here. And you might come across the Gulf of Citrus here, Sutra, or whatever you pronounce it. You might. So having a huge, very tall, so you can see it over the horizon, rather bright. You can supposedly see it during the daylight and not just at night. And so this is just, although especially over here, you're definitely getting into solid rock kind of land, and I'm pretty sure there's rock under this. To some degree, I just said that, but then I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure it is rock under, even though some of it has slipped into the sea from some of the earthquakes, literally. Sitting here, earthquake, boom, it's below the harbor. And they recover a lot of stuff because it's not very, very deep. But just goes under the, just land subsides and goes into the ocean. Now, getting out here, this is all, mostly, alluvial delta that's built up of the Nile depositing here. And so this, when earthquakes hit, can liquefy, and if it's at all wet, it can liquefy and just whoosh, if you know about that, liquefaction in earthquakes. So getting over here, we're getting into the sort of solid rock. That's part of the reason why I think Alexander picks up the spot. He does a really good job that they're able to, from several ways, feed fresh water coming off the Nile. But this is still mostly like flat as a pancake. I mean, you can sort of get maybe the idea here. It's a little kind of thing, but it's not like mountains, or it's not like that. It's more like low ridges or whatever right here. So you're not necessarily seeing it well when you're sort of out here. But having this lighthouse out here, you can see out for a ways, can really bring in, and so the sailors and be able for navigation be purposes. Now we do know there are other lighthouses. It wasn't, the first one. It wasn't the only, one around, but it was sort of the biggest, magnificent. And I think to some degree this is also functioning as a lighthouse as well in its purpose, the colossal at Rhodes. So, yeah, I think this should go back to some of its more original trade benefits for Alexandria kind of thing. Should we have, maybe after saying all this, maybe we can find I know there's a bunch of other already benefits. It's not like, gamer, they're already getting all kinds of benefits. Yeah, I know, but Alexandria is a special place because of some of the stuff, so I guess not. Well, let's continue with the war. Okay, whoa, you come down here. They're coming to mess with me? It's no good. You don't get to mess with me. Okay, looks like we just took care of most of their armies, so let's go back and take that capital of that province so that we own it in its entirety. We still have to take that fort once we get this one done. We'll mention that. I hope we've just killed off most of their wandering armies. So let's move you this way. Can you imagine how Rome... Can you imagine how close Rome, or the ancient world, however you want to look at it, was close to surviving? I mean, there's a lot of reasons it fell apart, and I don't know if we really understand why it falls apart. There's a lot. And it wasn't really just over in a day, and it obviously in a way lasts until the fall of Constantinople. But had they had the compass, your navies would have been better. And this is also, I think, the lack of the compass is, and they do have sort of a Latin type sail, but most of the most of these sails are like fairly square rigged. And I don't know how much you guys understand about sails, and I'm not like good enough to actually know the ropes and be able to do all the stuff, but I've read a lot about it. The idea that you're getting away from big square sails. Big square sails are more or less the best thing to push a ship fast, particularly if the wind is more or less behind the direction you want to go. Great things, big square sails. Very efficient. But to be able to tack, back and forth to get to somewhere. Now the wind's coming from this direction and you want to go in that direction. So what you do is you tack, back, forth, back, coming around here. And it may take you a long time, but you can get there sailing without stroke. Because with the big square sails, you can't. You can't. The wind's coming this way. You just basically, you can maybe head somehow sort of kind of this way and then try to row your way. No, you got to wait for the wind to change, or you've got to stroke your oars. And they did have some shiftable sails. It wasn't quite the big, but it really wasn't the later sailing technology of like the 16th, 17th, 18th into the 19th century that that really got the sails going. So I think there wasn't a strong reason for sail technology to advance. It wasn't because they were stupid or couldn't figure the thing out. It was why? Because they didn't want to sail, because no compass, no reliable navigation without at noon, around noon, not terribly reliable at navigation. You're more banking on your memory, and that you haven't been turning your sailing it sort of wrong, rowing it sort of wrong off from what you've been guided. And remember, there's currents. So the current may be going this way and you don't realize it. And so when you're going, you think you're going this way, but really you're going this way. You don't realize it when you think you're going north based from the east sun, and you're still maybe pointing this way, but with the current taking you this way, you may still be pointing in the right direction, but you're actually going in this direction. And without seeing the land, you don't realize you're going in this direction. Even though, like I say, even though you may be pointing it in this direction, but you don't realize you're not quite achieving that goal. So had you had the compass, it really helps. Now, celestial star navigation can be very good, and they did look at the sky. They did, for various reasons, they had pretty good ideas. But one, remember the shipwreck problem, if you're sort of kind of near land, you don't really want to be out at night in the oceans. Now, you don't mind being out at night if you know, hey, I'm out here. There, bad things can happen, but it ain't running into land, kind of thing. And if you sort of kind of keeping track and you're sort of kind of getting near, and you sort of, and if you have a compass to know, we're getting near here, and oh, storms, whatever, here, waves, let's start going this way for a while, and we'll see where we are when the sun comes up before we, actually sail into the harbor, kind of thing. So without the compass, sailing never advances very far. And I'm not, notice I specifically mean sailing as opposed to boating. Sailing doesn't advance very far without the compass, I do believe. So had they had the compass, the ease, and it had pretty good ship technology, but it was still sort of Mediterranean and coastal. It wasn't deep hold. I mean, they had the construction techniques. I know the boats were lost in World War II because of Allied bombing, but the ships of Nemi, the lake ships that I think, what was it, Caligula had, or was it Nero? I think it was Nero that had them built, but either one of the two. Big, huge luxury monster ships on a lake, basically, because they went down in the proper type of fresh water that gets mud over them, so the wood doesn't deteriorate. Photos of the joints and the construction techniques are well in advance of what through the Middle Age, Dark Ages, Middle Ages, much more advanced than the Vikings and all their abilities to build stuff. Very well advanced ship making stuff, joining wood and doing that kind of thing. They got that down pretty good, but they don't have the sort of, Atlantic type hulls being able to take, real sort of storms and whatnot in stride. And so they don't do this. They have pumps. I don't know if they ever really put pumps on vessels as opposed to just bailing them out. Maybe they did. I don't know. That's just an I don't know. And I don't know if we know, but they put pumps commonly on vessels. Of larger size to pump the water out of the, because all wooden ships like this leak. And in fact, they sort of kind of want it wet to keep the wood swelled up. But you want them to leak a little bit and constantly, bail or pump. And you don't want it like you're going to sink, but you just want it linking a little bit to, I don't know, even, we're not even talking waves coming over or rain coming in, but leak through the hole, maybe, a quarter of a bucket a day. So you just, every 4 days, you throw a bucket of water out of the bottom of the vessel, you want it to leak a little bit, basically. And so, yeah. But to shift legions around, and part of the reason the Roman Empire falls is because of civil wars that deplete the military strength of the empire. But that's too simple, because why are you having civil wars? There's cultural and social reasons and issues more than just civil wars did it. Well, you got to look deeper. Why were they so destructive? Whatnot. But had you had the ability to move trade goods around, move people around, messengers, because communication, just literal communications, is one of the issues with the Roman Empire. Is, okay, you want to move a legion, but first you want to tell the legions down here that you need them up here, because you're up here, so you got to get the message down there and then get the legion started to move, you know. So sailing technology on the Mediterranean could have really been a major thing. That, maybe the horse, stir up in a few things that could have really changed the world and how we understand it. Okay, well, yep, okay. Move our army with the engineers also here to take that faster. And you can come along because we want to secure this before they conjure up another force to attack us. So, yeah, you can stay. We'll help you. Assault it? No, I guess you're going somewhere else. Or besiege it. So yeah, the compass is a serious bit of technology that considerably. Don't know at what point this starts or isn't. So I know we can't assault. I don't know how much I just want to assault the enemy fortress. Sometimes you might just bleed yourself dry on the assault. A little disappointed these, though we'll be able to recolonize them probably fairly quickly. Not quite the problems you colonizing like places way out here that are not Greek and you don't have some of the right conditions to properly colonize. You're back on the naughty list now? Okay. Where is he claiming a holding? So much was lost. Now, I like the way the world's turned out. Now, if I'd grown up in the world that, you know, and I don't, some people, oh, it's the softness of the Christians and their love thy brother, and they're no longer, you know, butchering people or doing slavery or whatever it is that weakens the Roman world. Okay, he gets corruption, loses loyalty, but he's like super loyal. Why is this happening? Particularly weasel. See, making himself clearer more than ever, he began to steer people's government, perhaps hoping to challenge our rule. Why is somebody with 100% loyalty doing this? Okay. And this is probably just a random event. And I get that. And this is just something that frustrates. This is why I cheat in this game as much as I do. Okay, random events, but that's 33% loyalty lost. Also gets a lot of corruption. But why? Because he's 100. Now, if we were talking to somebody, oh, he's 50% loyal. Now, 33% would put that right into the, you know, F you, I'm rebellious kind of level for himself at least. So that's huge thing. Or we get debt of treason must be paid in blood. Now we lose the loyalty of the province and is imprisoned. Okay. Where's Pamphylia? Let's look at this. I normally just let these things go, but okay, it's right here. Okay, so fortunately here, as it says, we have 100% loyalty, and we're going to take 66%, so that's going to be 33%. Okay, well, I'm just going to let this happen, and I'm going to cheat, not him back to 100% loyalty, but I'm more worried actually about the corruption than the loyalty. I don't. So that just aggravates me. Just aggravates me that I just don't see a sense in it. You go, life is random. Yeah, I'm a big hit. It's really disrupting things here. And it doesn't seem to be based upon anything but stupid random. Okay, 49, 49, one more 40. Oh, good, he got to raise a second unit. Yay. We didn't take this in time. I know, we're going to deal with this shortly. Come on, take. Okay, incense, central delta. Why aren't we going to bring in incense to central delta? We still have the slot. Somebody take control of the province, it looks like it. Okay, well, let's. Got wine. They have dyes there. No, they don't have dyes there. There's no good source for dyes right now. Okay. Silk. We already do have silk. That's sort of my silk one stored to maybe shift over to there. Trade link. Marble we got. Papyrus there. Bringing in. Spices we have. Earthenware we have. Precious metals. Do we know? Trade is sort of drying up with some of these major powers here. Gemstones. Okay, we'll do that. See the outcome of this battle. Come on, Rhodians. Kick their butt. Good job. Are you going to come and help us take this castle? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, it's just a level 1 castle. Why are you having so much trouble with it? 49, 49. Defenders desert. Okay, well, this is my talking and whatnot. It made this go on a little too long already. So thank you so much for getting this far. Really do appreciate it. See you next time for even more historical gaming.